Hi, this is Melissa with A Creative Journey with Melissa, and today I'm going to show you how to create this awesome card right here. I had some really large pieces of scrap paper, so I wanted to create this card, and with that I used Stephanie Bernard's die set, which is right here. I don't know about you, but I still do the 12 by 12 scrapbooking, so I tend to have a lot of 12 by 12 paper. I like to use my 12 by 12 paper. I like to try to talk sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't work, kind of like what I just did. Anyway, so I do like to create different cards and things like that. I also try to create more than one so that I have one as a backup, because there's always somebody that needs a card or birthday card or something. So I always try to have some backups so that I'm not rushed to create something. With that, I did have a rather large piece of paper right here, this large piece, and I also had this large piece here. I had two of them, so actually it was quite large. It was almost a half of a 12 by 12, and then I had about a quarter of a 12 by 12 as well. So I used these two to create this awesome card. So this is the card that I created. Now I love this card for a number of reasons. One, it's a moving card. Now isn't that cool? I really like that. I made it pretty simple. You can make it super, decorated and add a whole bunch of different paper and things like that. But I really wanted to show you how quick it was to make this awesome card. Pretty simple, but someone who gets it will just love it. And I think you'll love it too. So with that, I want to show you what I used. I used Stephanie Bernard's die set. It is that number right there, which is 659634. It's called the, what's it called? I'm trying to look for it. Card, Royal Flippets, that's what this one's called, okay? So that's this one, and there's a number of different ones you can get. I would suggest you get one that you really enjoy the design of, so that you can use it over and over again. You can make a card that looks the same, look fantastically different with different paper, different products, different embellishments. So don't feel like you're stuck with just one specific look. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can even use this as a gift card holder if you wanted to. So with that, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. With that, you have right here this awesome die set. Now this die set says 11 dies. There really are 11 dies. Look at all these beautiful dies you have in here. There's tons of them. And it comes in an envelope too. Now I've had this for a little bit, so I'm not sure if this still comes the same way. I will tell you this, if you're going to have this envelope, I would suggest you be careful on the edges, because sometimes the dies come out of the corner. I think personally it would be better if it was straight across so that they don't pop out of the sides, but that's just me. Who am I? So anyway, so I just want to make sure you're careful with those edges, because sometimes the little dies in there, like I said, they pop out. So we have this here. And then, of course, we have the fantastic stamp set right here, which is called Birthday Wishes. This is a Creative Journey with Melissa exclusive. So this can be found at www.acjwm.com or www.acreativejourneywithmelissa.com. Either one of those you can check out. We have tons of different stamps, including sign language, awareness ribbon stamp sets, for example, for breast cancer, autism awareness. We have a few general awareness ribbon cause stamp sets that you can use for all different kinds of awareness stamp sets. All different kinds of awareness causes, and use a stamp set to create with them. So with that, this is the Birthday Wishes stamp set right here. And we'll be using that with this right here. So for this project, you will need the Birthday Wishes stamp set. You will need your die set right here. You will need a manual die cutter. I'm using the Sizzix. We also have right here our stamp block. We have adhesive. We also have our ink, and we'll have our paper, our decorative paper, which is two-sided, and we'll have our other solid color paper. Now it's important that you have two-sided paper unless you just want to use white. You can have a regular piece of paper that's decorated, and on the back, if you wanted it white, that would work too. This just so happens to have coordinating colors on the back, and it looks really great with what we chose here, okay? So with that, I'm going to just set this stuff aside. We're going to start with our dies and our paper. That usually is the way I like to start, just to make it fast and easy and to make sure that it all works, because sometimes it doesn't. So with that, we're going to take out the main die, which is this one right here. We're going to take out the larger die, which is right here, which let me show you on the card what that does. And then I will also show you the other die as well. So we have this die here, which goes where the happy birthday is. That's what that's for. So that goes right on there, okay? Then we have this die, which goes right inside there. That's where we got that cut, okay? So that goes right there. And then we have this, which is what cut the entire creation itself. So you can see that right here. Whoops, here we go. Like that, okay? So that's what we have. That's what it looks like, okay? So it's pretty simple. So there's 3 pieces here, and then we'll just put it all together, okay? And the cool thing is that with this with this die set, it already has the creases already done there for you. So they've already given you the score lines. So you're ready to go when after you've cut it, okay? So let's start with the big piece first. We'll make it easy for ourselves. So we're going to set this aside. We'll do that in a minute. Let me get my Sizzix manual die cut machine and hit my light while I'm there. You know, a little bit of entertainment for you guys. So then we have this piece of paper and we have this die. Now right here, I want you to notice, see how there's the grooves right there, and see how on this side it's flat? Make sure you are putting your paper up against this groove part right here, okay? Because if you don't put it up against the groove part, you're not going to be cutting anything. It's going to be flat. So you want to make sure you put this grooved part right here face down, okay? So we're turning it, the groove part, and we're going to face down right on top of that paper right there, okay? And then we're going to make sure we just put it on top of one clear platform along with the main platform. This is the main one, then we're going to put it on top of that clear platform, okay? And then we're just going to slide it right in. Make sure it's covered pretty well. That looks good. And then we're going to place the clear platform on top of that. That gives it just enough sandwich so that it'll cut perfectly. So then we're going to just push it right through and roll it around in there. And sometimes it makes that noise, and that's okay because it just means it's working. It's not going to break anything. It's just trying to get through the last little piece, okay? So with that, we'll pull that out, and we'll pull this out, and I'll show you right here what it looks like. We'll just push this lightly. Now we have this, and sometimes I probably should have ran through it twice. Sometimes it doesn't cut all the way through, and that's just because I should have run through it twice. It may not have hit all the way as far as I thought it did. So we're just going to fold that both ways. Like I said, sometimes this happens and we just do this in one shot. So if we make mistakes, I show you how to fix them. So we're just going to basically pull it like this. As you can see, it's pretty much cut already. It just didn't get cut all the way. So we're going to pull this side this way, like so. And there we go. So it's already cut. It just needed a little bit of help. You know, sometimes people need a little help, and I'm willing to do that. So we have that piece right there. I'm going to show you how to fold that in just a second. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece. This happens to be a two-sided piece as well, but we only need this piece, this side. So we're going to make sure once again that we put our paper face down so the color that we want is on top. And we're also going to make sure that the part where that cuts with the little beveled edge right here, okay, we're going to make sure that that is also face down, okay? Because if it's not, it doesn't have that edge, it's not going to be cutting anything, okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to put this also face down at the edge, and that will also be cutting, okay? So with that, we're going to put the clear platform right on top, and we're going to run it through 2 times this time because I forgot to last time, right? So let me do that. And then we're going to run it right back through again just to make sure it all got cut. You know, better be safe than sorry. Can you see I learned from my last mistake? Let's see if it worked this time. Okay, so, and again, sometimes that happens. Sometimes it's a little wobbly, and it worked fine, as you can see. So sometimes you do need to put it through 2 times, and that happens, and that's okay. So we're just going to pull that like that. We're going to set this extra piece aside. Can't really cut anything with that anymore. I'm going to put this aside, and I'm going to put this aside so we don't need the die cut machine anymore. So with that, I'm just going to poke out the pieces that we need. And you can see that these are the pieces that we need right there. So what we have, just like this card right here, okay, you could also do it this way if you wanted to. Whatever way you wanted to. There's a lot of different variations. You could also do it this way if you wanted to as a card. Whatever you want. There's all different ways to do it. And actually maybe I will do it this way just to show you something a little different. How's that? Because I do like to do different things. So I'm going to show you how to do it that way. Okay? So I don't know if you can see super well, but I'm going to show you that there are little lines right there that you can see that are actually score lines. So we're just going to fold along those lines. Okay? Make it easy. We're gonna fold it like that. And I'm gonna fold it on the other way too, just to make sure it's super scored. Okay. And then we'll fold it back like that. Okay. And now we're gonna do the same thing with the second scored line, because there are two. Just like so. Okay. So we've done that. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to make it so it looks like this, okay? So I'm gonna make it like this, and in doing so, I'm gonna put this part on the bottom. So with that, normally it would be like this, but I'm showing you like this so that I remember which way to do it. Because otherwise, I'm gonna do it wrong, and I'm trying to show you something different, right? So what good does that do? So the cool thing about this card right here is you could literally just stamp happy birthday and you'd be fine. It would look cute, someone would love it, it would be great. You could even add a little twine here if you wanted, do whatever you wanted to do. But I think this itself is really cute. But I thought if you wanted to write something inside of it, it's important to have something in there. So that's what we're gonna do. Sometimes you'll find there'll be little pieces of, from the original, or from different dies that you have. They have like the bigger, thicker ones, like this one, for example. Let me pull this one out so I can show you what I'm talking about. Sometimes these kind of dies, okay, the ones that are a little bit thicker, you'll get some pieces of black on your dies just from running them through. So just make sure that you wipe off the edges of your paper, because sometimes you'll have a little bit left from the other pieces on your clear plates. That happens to me. So I just thought I'd give you that little tip. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to take out the adhesive, and we're going to make sure this is the correct side, and it is perfect. So we're just going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back of this, just like so. Don't need too much, just enough to make sure that it works, and we're good. So we're just going to line this up like so to make sure it's pretty centered in the side of there, that side of the card. Looks good to me. Okay. Then we're just going to fold this up like that. All right, perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make sure that this all lines up properly. I want to make sure that I'm going to be doing this right here, stamping, okay? So please make sure that it all works correctly. Alrighty, so we want to make sure that this lines up the way we want. So if we put it over here, that's great, except it's going to hit there, so we won't be able to stamp on it. It won't work great. So we want to make sure we do this. We're going to adhere it to this right here. Okay. And then that is going to be our card, like that, okay? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment. Now normally you could just stamp the sentiment on the extra piece of paper on the side, and then you would go ahead and adhere it, okay? But this time I'm gonna be risky, and I'll show you why. This adhesive right here, this you can actually pull off. It's called repositionable. So if I do have to pull it off and I make a mistake, that's okay. No worries, right? So what we're going to do is we are going to take this out, and we're going to take out our stamps from the Birthday Wishes stamp set. So we just need birthday and happy. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to use celebrate. I'm going to use celebrate on this set. Okay. So there are a bunch of different ones right here. So I'm going to use Celebrate, so I'm just going to pull that right off. Okay. So with that, here we go. Okay. So here we go. So we're just going to ink our Celebrate, like so. Okay. And then what I would suggest you do is actually open it up and make it flat. Otherwise it might not come out the way you want. It might get in the way. So I'm just going to put Celebrate right here in the corner, like so. Perfect. I really like how that looks too. And hopefully you will too. So now, look at that. Isn't that cute? I really like the way that looks. Now, if you wanted to really dress it up, you could. And by doing so, you could even just put a little bit of twine in here. So, you know, sometimes I like to think outside of the box. So that's what I'm doing here. And I'm thinking on the fly too. That's also what I'm doing here. So I'm going to take some of my twine here, okay? And I'll show you just in a second what we're doing here. We're going to take some of the twine and we're just going to wrap it around like so. Actually, let me think. I have an idea. We're going to wrap it around like this, okay? And then I'll show you in just a second. Get this going here. It's just going to be a one wrapper. Like I said, thinking on the fly, right? Always got to think of something different. So with that, I'm going to take this right here and I'm just going to simply tie a little bow or a knot right here, which will keep these together, okay? Like so, okay? Just like that. And we're just going to do this and tie a little bow right here, okay? I'm going to make it a little bit smaller because we don't need that big of a bow, right? And we'll do this too. And a little bit smaller there, okay? And then we'll trim it just to give you a different look, right? And then we'll do this right here. Okay, perfect. All right, so now we have this cute little bow. And then you can actually just give the card just like so. Just like that if you wanted to. Just like that. And then you can write your little note. You could actually put a little bit of adhesive underneath and just make it a one-dimensional if you wanted to. See what I mean? There's different ways you can do this. All different ways to create with these awesome stamps and die sets. And I think really that this is quite fun and makes it really exciting for people that are trying to think of different ways to use the dies that they have, okay? So what I think is this is a great way to do it. Or you could do this, see this? You could just add a little bit of twine to it to just decorate it a little bit. Or you can just simply take this off and make this like so. Either way. Whatever you think works for you and whoever you're giving it to actually. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this creation. I hope that you realize that there are so many different ways that you can use the tools that you currently have. And I hope that you think outside of the box and make sure that you utilize what you have, because we all realize that we're on budgets. We can't always afford everything that we want. So that's why the stamp sets that I try to create, I try to make sure that there's different ways you can use them and utilize them so that you get more bang for your buck and you can stretch your dollar a little bit more. So hopefully you'll check out our website at www.acreativejourneywithmelissa.com or www.acjwm.com. Make sure you check us out. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and to our email/blog list. If you do that, we will enter you in for a drawing every week that we have one. I haven't been on here for a couple weeks. I had to go to Florida for some business. That was really fun and exciting. I had a fantastic time with my coworker Lisa, and yes, Matthew, she is a star. Anyway, that's about it. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I sure hope that you will be sure to check out our other videos and just try to be creative. And please, if you have any ideas or thoughts that you'd like to share, please make sure you send me a note or a comment on this blog post. I really appreciate you joining us today, and I hope you enjoyed going on a creative journey with Melissa. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.